Okay, guys, we are back again. Another stream. It's almost 5:30 in the morning, Monday morning. Make sure we're live. Yes, we are live. Okay, I've gotten a number of different requests for the movie Titanic. Not Titanic, the real story. Obviously, we all know in real life in 1912, Titanic ship sank. The ocean liner carrying, I think it had like 2,200 people. It was terrible. 1,500 died. We all know about that. That was tragic. But this request is about the movie, the 1997 James Cameron film Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. What was the one actor who played Kenneth Hockley? I think Billy Zane. Yeah, just it was a great cast of actors. Um, as far as let me go through, make sure I get some of these questions right here through this email. Excuse me. Um, some of the questions are, yeah, what do you think like about the overall quality of the film, the actors, the characters that the actors portrayed, the storyline? How consistent is the storyline compared to the real Titanic, the real life tragedy disaster that took place April 14th, 1912? Um, what do I think about the love story and all of that? We had, the Jack and Rose situation. Uh, Honestly, good story I have. It's kind of a brief story, but a good story. Um, as far as my opinion of the Titanic, I think it's a great film. I've watched it, I don't know, maybe like 100 times. I mean, the movie's been around for 25 years now, since 97. I've probably seen it like 80 to 100 times. Anyways, um, I actually saw the Titanic when it first came out in theaters. It was in December of 97. So going on 25 years this December. And I remember I was 11 years old. I know I'm giving away my age, but I've already told you guys my age. I'm 36 years old. So yeah, 97. I was 11 years old when we went to see the movie in theaters with my family. And I never forget, at 11 years old, I mean, I understood the Titanic, and everything. I understood the some of the history, about how the ship sank, back in early 1900s. I didn't even know the exact year. I know, obviously, now I'm like a Titanic buff. I love the all stories about Titanic. I think it's a great story. It's not great that people died. That's terrible. But I mean, just the overall history of the Titanic's always fascinated me. Um, so I was 11 years old when we went to the theaters to see the movie. And it's so funny, guys. You guys are probably going to laugh at this, but at 11, I still didn't have enough sense to understand, the reality of what Titanic really was, real life, true story, not a fictional story. And so when we're watching the movie, and remember, Titanic's like what? I think it's like a 3.5 hour movie, something like that, 3 hours. For an 11-year-old, 3 hours is an eternity. 3 hours for an 11-year-old is like 24 hours. It's like a whole day for an 11-year-old, 3 hours. So we get in there. I'm excited, because, 11-year-olds want to go to the movies. They want to see the movies, popcorn, soda, snacks. And we're watching the movie. The movie starts, the previews are all done, everything. And I did not even have enough sense to realize the outcome. Like as an adult now, you already know the outcome. The ship, on what, day 4 or day 5 of their journey, strikes an iceberg. The ship goes down about 2.5 hours later. 1,500 people die. It's tragic. We all know the story. Well, at 11 years old, I didn't know all the details. So when I'm watching the movie in the cinema, I'm thinking, maybe the ship's not going to sink. Maybe, they're going to rescue the ship somehow. Maybe, there wasn't enough damage done to the ship. 11-year-old kid not knowing any better. And then I'm thinking, maybe all of these passengers, all these main characters, Jack and Rose, they're going to both survive together. They're going to go on, live their, lives together happily ever after. That's what I'm thinking, because, when you're a kid, you get conditioned to always assume the good guys win. The good guys survive. They always win. So, and obviously I was completely wrong on all of that. We all know Jack, by the way, fictional character. There was no such thing as Jack Dawson on the real Titanic. But we all know the fictional character, Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, dies. But as a kid, I'm thinking, oh, they're all going to survive. It's going to be a happy ending. And, it turns out it was a pretty sad ending, obviously, in the film. But anyways, you guys could imagine that. Me as an 11-year-old kid watching the Titanic, having no real knowledge of the true history of the Titanic. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is just another cool, fiction movie, and, everybody's going to survive. And in the very end, I was shocked. Let's just put it that way. I was shocked as an 11-year-old little boy. I was shocked to find out that all those people died. But anyways, back to what I was saying about my opinion of the film. I think the film's a great film. Like if I had to critique it, give it like, sort of be the, play like the Debbie Downer role here and, say the negatives. I'll start out with the negatives first. If I had to critique the classic, and it's definitely a classic, 1997 Titanic film, I would say the only negatives were the way that they did seem to make the entire film about two people, obviously Jack and then Rose and their love story. And, I feel like they made it more, it's definitely more, I would call a love story than it is an actual historical documentary about the Titanic. Now as a 36-year-old, I'm older now and I've studied the Titanic for a really long time now. I've always been fascinated with the real Titanic, and the story. Obviously, the real life situation of what happened on Titanic was horrible, just absolutely horrible. And it's not about a love story or anything like that. I mean, it's about real life, real people that died, and on that tragic night on April 14th, 1912. So that would have been a little over 110 years ago. But as far as the movie goes, I feel like they focused, and it surprises me because James Cameron's amazing. Like, the movies he's put together and created, like he's just a phenomenal. I mean, he's a genius, James Cameron. I mean, he's the guy that did obviously Titanic, the Terminator movies, the Transformer movies. And there's just so many movies that he's been a part of, James Cameron. And it surprises me that he made it more about a love, like a lovey-dovey type movie. He made it more like sort of like the movie The Notebook. He kind of made it similar to like The Notebook. And I know Titanic came out first before The Notebook did, but I'm just saying they're both kind of similar in terms of the whole movie is mainly focused around two people as opposed to the whole entirety of the tragic accident with what happened on the Titanic. That's the only critique I really have for the movie. Other than that, I love the movie. I think it's a great movie. The cinematography is amazing, special effects, all the graphics. The way the ship, when it rose up out of the water and then snapped in half and then came up and went back down, all of that, just amazing, amazing graphics. And you got to remember, this was 1997, like I was saying. So you're talking, this was a quarter of a century ago, 25 years ago. Just amazing graphics. But yeah, my only negatives, the excessive love focus. Don't get me wrong, there were some touching scenes. Yeah, Jack and Rose, it was, it's definitely one of those movies where it tries to kind of pull at your heart, the love story. And they did a great job of making the love story. It was a great love story. But I just wish they would have focused more on the actual historical, part of the Titanic, instead of making it like this. It was almost like two for one movie, like uh, you get two things in one. It's one movie, but like you get you kind of get a little bit of the historic part of the Titanic and them hitting the iceberg and sinking, and they show some of the historical passengers and crew that was on the ship. But then after that, they mainly focus their attention, like 70%, 75% of it on Jack and Rose. And I hope if they ever do make another Titanic, which they probably won't, at least not anytime soon, but if they ever do make another Titanic, I would really like for them to focus more on the real life events that took place. But it's hard to do that because all the passengers now are gone. They've all passed away now, even the ones that survived. And I don't think they're going to get any more testimonies of what really went on. They've got pretty much all the testimonies that they're ever going to get. So I think the Titanic story in general has probably pretty much run its course. It's run its course. They're probably not going to make another one. But if they did, if they ever were to make another Titanic, I would like for them to focus more on the actual history of what happened and not just make it a complete and total love story type film. So again, that's my only critique. But as far as the positives of the movie, like I said, everything was great about the film. I mean, it just, the graphics, the cinematography, the characters. I feel like the characters did a great job. The actors portraying the characters, like the captain, E.J. Smith, the builder, Thomas Andrews, they all did a great job portraying the real Thomas Andrews, who was a real person. Bruce Ismay, who was, I believe, I think he was like either the designer or like the president, I think, of the White Star Line. Did a great job with all of those people. Bruce Ismay, John Jacob Astor, who at the time was like one of the richest men in the world. They did a great job. I thought it was so funny and cool, though, that the actor that they used to play John Jacob Astor, I can't remember his name. I could probably look it up, but it's the same guy that was in the soap opera, The Young and the Restless, Victor. He's Victor from The Young and the Restless. That's so funny that they used him to play John Jacob Astor on the Titanic. But all in all, I know my channel's not one of those channels, that where I just sit around rating videos or rating movies, giving ratings. But if I had to give the Titanic movie a rating, all in all, I would probably give it, if we're gonna do like, let's say on a scale of like 1 to 10, I would probably give it darn near a 9, like really high. It would, and I would only put it at a 10 if they just didn't focus so much on the love story. A little bit of love is good. And, in a movie like Titanic, you got people, getting separated from each other, women and children only allowed in the lifeboats at first. The men are being separated. So I get it. You're going to have some sad love stories that's going on. Married couples on the ship, couples that were dating. I get that. I'm not saying cut all of the the love stories out of the film, but I wish they wouldn't have focused all their attention on a love story that never even happened. That part's fictional, obviously. Some people, it's funny. I talk to people all the time that actually think that Jack and Rose were real people on the Titanic. It's like, no, them two were both made up characters. They were not on the real Titanic back in 1912. They were just fictional, made up characters. But yeah, I would give it a 9 if I like. And remember, this is just my opinion of how I feel about the film. I would give it a 9 out of 10. It could be a perfect 10 for 10 if they just focused a little less on the love. But like I said, the love scenes were fine. I just feel like they overdid the love scenes. They just overdid it. You had the painting scene where Rose, didn't she get naked? And then they had the scene where they were in those old, the Model T cars or whatever down in the storage, making love. You got Rose putting her hand on the window, steamy love that they were making. Like, if they could have, I feel like if they would have got rid of those two scenes alone, Just those two scenes alone, I probably would rate the movie a 10. I probably would give a perfect 10. But I feel like they really went over the top with the love, you know. But again, a 9 is damn near like perfect. You know, by movie standards, if you give a movie a 9 out of 10, you know, in other words, if we're doing this by star ratings, you know, 1 star to 5 star, I would give it probably a 4.5, almost a 5 star, just a little bit below 5. Um, so I mean, you know, great film. Like I said, I could watch that movie anytime. I could sit down right now and watch the Titanic. Lay down, relax, watch it. Like I said, it's a great film. Um, and as far as somebody else was asking if they'll ever, like, if anyone thinks that they'll ever make another Titanic film, I kind of talked about this a little bit ago earlier. I doubt they will, and if they do, it's probably not going to be for a long time. Like, maybe if they, I think the only way they would ever make another Titanic film. I know they've made a whole bunch of Titanic films last century, you know, the 20th century, but none this century. Um, the only way they would ever do something like that is if they made a major discovery. You know, like if these researchers that, you know, like the oceanographers and everything, and these historians that do the studying of the wreckage, the studying of the testimonials of the survivors, if they like make some kind of groundbreaking discovery that changes everything about the Titanic, yeah, then they might make another movie. But I don't see that happening. Therefore, if that doesn't happen, I don't think they're going to make another Titanic. I mean, they've made how many Titanic films? Like a dozen, maybe 10 or 12 Titanic films, maybe even more than that. They've made a lot of Titanic films. A lot of Titanic films. But yeah, as far as that goes, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and if they ever do make another Titanic film, like I said, it would be tough to beat the last one that they just made with James Cameron. James Cameron did a great job. Like I said, James Cameron hit the ball out of the baseball park. It was great. And you guys just heard me what I said. The love scenes, we got just a little too excessive, the love. But besides that, it was nearly a flawless, almost straight across the board, close to a flawless film. Um, Everything, the producing, the directing, you know, everything, cinematography, and the length of the movie was perfect because Titanic deserves a long movie. The story and the history of Titanic deserves a long movie, a 3.5 hour movie to explain everything. You know, I mean, that's a big historic event. Um, so, you know, the length of the movie was fine. Everything was fine in the movie, except for, like I said, just a little too much centered around Jack and Rose. So yeah, guys, I think that's gonna do it. This was another fun stream on Titanic. I hope you guys enjoy these streams that I'm doing. Like I said, some of these streams, I'm just kind of um, trying to have fun with you guys. You know, like these topics I think are fun topics, and I try to cover the topics that you guys want me to talk about. Like somebody else, I think it was the real Danny G. I think it was wanted me to discuss reptilian people, the conspiracy theory. That's a great topic. So I covered it. You guys can watch that stream, that video. Um, Also, um, you guys can, if you want me to do a request for you, you could go to the about section, email me, or drop it down below in the comment section. Your request, give me a request for whatever type of video you want. Or again, if you're in the chat, which I don't think anybody is right now, you could do it in the chat room. And so, yeah, and as you guys know, I appreciate all of you that come here, support this channel, give likes, you know, thumbs ups, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate all of that stuff. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with promoting this channel. Again, this is a small channel. I just like to have fun doing this. I don't take this seriously. This obviously isn't my job. I mean, you know, if this was my job, I'd be in trouble because I'm making this much right now. so yeah, if this was my job, I'd be in serious trouble. And oops. notification. Sorry about that, guys. Also, I appreciate any feedback that you guys give me, whether it be in the comment section, the chat room, or emailing me personally. Sending me an email, that also is a good way. Sometimes people want to keep things more private, so you could always email me. Go to my about section for that. And I encourage that too, because again, I know sometimes people don't want to be out in the open, talking in like the comment section or in the chat room because everybody can see it. So sometimes if you guys have a personal question for me, or again, maybe a request that you guys don't, you want to remain anonymous, you don't want people to see you for the request, the email section is always real helpful and a great place to go to contact me. I try to check my emails as often as possible. So I always keep my eyes open for emails if you guys send me an email. Also, again, I know I've mentioned this a dozen, million times. I do this for free. This is fun for me. It's, it's basically just a hobby, to have a little bit of fun, answer people's questions, engage with others, talk about fun topics, movies, sports, politics, conspiracy theories, you name it. It's just fun. And like I said, my channel is a laid back channel. I'm not a stickler on my channel for like things like your language. Oh, you can't use that word. Any of you guys that know me, I'm not like that. Me, I use foul language. I say whatever I want. I'm not PC. I'm definitely not politically correct. So I don't expect you guys to be either. If I'm not, then you guys don't have to be. So, also I wanted to go over, double check something here. See if there was another thing that there was something that I wanted to mention, but it probably wasn't important because I can't think of it. Wow, guys, it's foggy here. Super foggy outside. I'm not sure. I might be back again this morning with another stream. That way you guys know. I'm not sure, though. If I'm not, I'll be back when I'm back. I don't usually go away for too long. And I usually try to cover other topics that you guys want me to cover. And let's see here. Oh, it looks like we got a little bit of spam in the chat. I thought there was a real person in the chat. Oh, it's dating sites. You know what though? I'm gonna leave that alone because I already told you guys. I'm gonna what do you call it? Practice what you preach. I'm not gonna delete spam on my channel just to prove a point that I don't delete spam. I don't delete trolls. You guys want to say whatever you want? Say whatever you want. Oh man, that is funny though. Having dating. What is that? Mega.com 69 mega.com. Oh man, new dating for all. New dating for all taste and ages. Oh my god. Oh well, guys, that's a good laugh for this morning. Anyways, I'm gonna end this stream. I had fun doing this. I hope you guys had fun too with me. You guys all take care. Enjoy your work week or whatever you're doing this week. And peace out, everybody.